Hello and welcome to the Ashcan Edition on Graphic Policy TV. I am Brant Lewis, and today I am joined by the wonderful Avi Ehrlich, who is a founder and publisher of Silver Sprocket, which is a cool little punk anarchist publisher, store, and overall community in comics. Avi, thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm really happy to be here.
Right? Just kind of get things started off with a little bit of a warm up and a moosh boosh, if you will, of some questions.
All right.
If you were trapped on a deserted island and you could only bring one music album with you, what would it be and why?
If I could only bring one music album, um,
Yep.
I don't know. I'm kind of obsessed with like Yola Tango and this weird like electronic like ambient band called I Am Robot and Proud. That's just like brain massage, almost ASMR. Um, I yeah, I don't listen to all that much punk rock anymore. I mean, I still do, but like I just don't really like being yelled at as much these days. But yeah, I can listen to Yola Tango and I Am Robot and Proud forever and ever.
I think I've
Um,
actually listened to Yola Tango before. I think it may have popped up on my Spotify.
yeah, they're fantastic. Just like, uh, they clearly like grew up being all punk as fuck, and now they're just kind of occasionally almost psychedelic indie rock. That yeah, I like them. You should listen to them if you want.
Hmm. So, what's an underrated comic that you feel that people have slept on?
Oh my god. So many in the world. I mean, I obviously should say everything we've published is should be way more popular than it is because they're amazing. But I think the comic there's a particular book that really got me into caring about indie comics and comic zines. That is a collection called Cyanide Milkshake by Liz Suburbia, and a lot of people know Liz Suburbia from her book with Fantagraphics called Sacred Heart. But Cyanide Milkshake was like Liz's one person anthology comic that was all like drawn with Sharpies on printer paper, and it's just a bunch of short attention span, short comics about all sorts of things. Like there's a bunch of different parallel stories of like this zombie invasion and these aliens and these dogs going on adventures and weird punk rock bullshit. And there's a collection of all of them published by a micro press called Gimme Action out of Oakland. And I like when I don't think I would have gotten into publishing comics or like really give a shit about like that was I definitely was exposed to a lot of other comics before that one that got me into it, but Cyanide Milkshake though, hands down I think is just like such a fun and creative and weird like reading experience that's just so accessible and fantastic and magical. And yeah, we do have it in our store. I mean, we didn't publish it, but it's and Liz Suburbia is the artist who did our logo, the goat dude character. Yeah, love Liz Suburbia is just the fucking best.
That sounds really interesting. I will definitely add that to my ever growing list of stuff that I need to read and will get to one
And
day.
it's great because it's like you don't have to sit down and read the whole comic and remember everything because it's like everything is like one to maybe like 5 or 6 pages at the most in a particular story, and they're all little bite-sized chunks. So like you can put it in your bathroom or read it before bed or when you wake up. Like, I mean, but the problem is it's so good that you don't want to only read a few pages, but you can. So it's like I don't know, it's the perfect comic. I love it.
Sounds really cool. Anyway, what's a comic that really made a big impact on you as a kid?
Um, I mean, I got into reading comics with what was accessible around me. So like, a lot of X-Men and like, I got into like, Superman dying and all that shit. But I think much more influential would have been I really loved Bone and I really loved Scud the Disposable Assassin. And I got into Scud the Disposable Assassin like while that was coming out. Both like I was hanging out around some indie comic kind of scenes, and then also I was reading Wizard magazine, and it was kind of weird that Wizard really latched on to like just some rad fucking weird indie thing. And yeah, Scud was just so much fun and so weird and so different. And I yeah, I'll stick with those two.
I mean, those are perfect comics. I know for me, especially, one of my earliest memories with comics was at my school's book fair to get a copy of Bone because Jeff
Mhm.
Smith is just like the goat, I would say.
Yeah, no, Jeff Smith is amazing, and he's even now he's one of the main organizers of a festival in Columbus called Cartoon Crossroads Columbus, and it's so community oriented and good vibes, and you'd be like, wait, Columbus, Ohio? Why would you go to a comic book festival in Columbus? Like, it's I mean, not like you shouldn't, but going to a comic convention is a lot of effort and expensive, and you want to go somewhere where you have a chance of breaking even or whatever. But it's like he brings out like they're able to get the most incredible guest, and there's a museum out there called the Billy Ireland Museum of Cartoon Art, or I don't know what the end of the name is, but the Billy Ireland Museum has all the original Calvin and Hobbes and Peanuts, and like it's the biggest museum in the United States of comic art, and they just have these massive archives of all the original work from like thousands of different newspaper strips and comic books and just related ephemera and work. And you could just ask them, be like, hey, I want to see the original Calvin and Hobbes comic from like 1989, and they bring it out to you, and you could pick it up and actually hold it and look at it and like see all the eraser marks and whiteout and like scratches. And it's such a like the psychic energy of what how amazing comics are, and connecting with the creator of like what went into making that page or that strip is fucking magical. I highly recommend the Billy Ireland Museum if you ever find yourself being able to get to Columbus, Ohio.
Wow, that's just truly amazing. I will definitely add that to my never-ending travel list as well too because I mean, I'm not surprised by the Midwest because that's where so many great cartoonists, writers, and artists definitely came from. Because I think Simon and Schuster were also from the Midwest as well.
Oh, interesting.
Mhm. So, what's the biggest thing that you've learned as a publisher?
I think I'm learning things every day, and I don't know. I joke with like some other comic publisher friends of like, wouldn't it be great to stop having to learn things? Like, because learning a thing is another word for like, oh, I made a weird mistake, or I really could have done this differently or better. So now I know how to do it, and it's the positive spin on oh, there was something I didn't know that would have been really nice to know. Um, So, but yeah, I don't know. I'm learning things all the time. Every year has a different set of lessons.
Now, let's talk about with Silver Sprocket, which is many, many things. I mean, even with its beginning, outside of being a publisher, a store, a community, it originally started off as a record label, and then a bike team and all that. So talk a little bit about that history.
Yeah, definitely. So, we definitely came out of like the DIY kind of world of like making your own zines and making your own records, and kind of knowing that we were outside of like the mainstream industries of like distribution and production and promotion and communication. Like we were in bands that would put out our own records, and then we didn't really have good distribution to get into stores. So like bands would tour with each other and then trade 20 copies of each other's records for each other. And then whenever any of those bands played a show, there'd be like a box of records on the table of like, check out our friends' records. And we became like mini distros for each other's bands where if you like us, here's like 10 other bands that we vouch for and you can get all their records here too. Like, but really like being very community oriented and knowing that our community is what supports us and we have to support it back. And it's not, I mean, it's definitely some hippie shit, but it's also like very smart and makes a lot of sense and is a way to be like not just self-reliant but reliant on others that you care about and respect and really know. And so like not being forced to play to like get your legitimacy or your permission to exist from some company that is profit driven or has different motives than yours. um and then we grew as a record label. Like we eventually got big time distribution and resources and made big music videos and tours and all that stuff. But I think it's really important to kind of really understand how the nuts and bolts work of what you're doing. And even if you have a giant distributor, like you can't really trust them to be like your sales reps or to pay attention to your work the way that it needs to be paid attention to. So we knew for the entire existence of all across all the projects, um, the through line was like, we've got to be doing the work that we think needs to be done. We've got to present it the way we want to present it, and we'll pay attention to what the industries are doing, but we're going to make sure that we're doing it in a way that serves us. Where if there's a standard practice in the comics industry that is great, we'll try it. But if something totally different makes more sense to us, or the goals of it are not in alignment with what our values are, we don't have to, and we can just do things our own way. But yeah, we started out as a record label. That was really fun until it stopped being as fun. And then I found that a lot of the like artists who like visual artists who would do like our album covers and our posters and our um, merchandise designs were of the same community as the bands we were working with, but they didn't really have the resources. Like when you're in a band, you can go on tour with other bands, and there's all these venues you can play at, and like tools were popping up like SoundCloud and Bandcamp to like make it easier, like to help with all that. But I didn't really feel like there was a equivalent to that we were aware of for people who were like writers and artists and kinds of creators. So we kind of pivoted to doing comic books, which felt like it was kind of necessary and fun. And also like working with bands means every night you're at a concert where everyone's getting really drunk because the entire music industry is predicated it relies on the bar industry to survive, and the bar industry wants to make you uncomfortable so you buy another drink, and it's not that healthy, and it kind of promotes alcoholism in a weird way. And I don't know, I still think going to dive bars to see bands is a lot of fun and I love doing it, but I'm I'm getting the rewards for working in other forms of media, and the pacing of it is just very very fun and interesting in a different way that I'm enjoying a lot more.
Most definitely, and I'm going to be paraphrasing a quote they gave to the website, the Comics Journal, talking about the ethos of Silver Sprocket, where it's very much shaped by the anarchist worldviews, and specifically the Bay Area punk scene, and kind of like that hippie-ish community mutual aid. So, do you kind of feel that is the goal with turning to crowdfunding as a way of keeping it afloat?
Yeah, so it's interesting because we're doing very well by a lot of metrics, but then there's some really important elements of running a business that are extremely challenging that we're just having a really difficult time with. And it's wild. Like our accountant says that like our balance sheet looks amazing, but we have so much money tied up in inventory, for example, and you get taxed on that, but that's not actually cash that you have that you can spend. And I don't know. I mean, we've like retail and publishing have all been hit really hard across the board. Since like 2023, everything kind of there was a rapid, like a definite pivot, and people can talk about what caused that. Like maybe the implosion of social media, maybe like really high interest rates and economic uncertainty. But it got a lot harder. But we're it was weird because we were told like, yeah, you could probably get investors pretty easily. Like you guys have a really good story going. Your sales are growing consistently. Your profile's rising, but we really want to stay independent, and we have so much fun doing so many things that are not even designed to make money. Um, like we at our storefront in San Francisco, there's always people using our materials to like literally like photocopy, scan, staple their own comics, and that doesn't make us any money. It's just a thing that we think is important to do to nurture a comic making community, and like we hosted we helped organize and host the Pride and Panels Queer Comic Festival this past February with the San Francisco Public Library, and it was completely free for everybody. There were no tabling fees. There was no admission fee. Like we worked with the library to make the entire thing free for everybody, and even had a budget to pay people who were like the panelists. And it's a tremendous amount of work, but it's like time and energy that we're not spending selling books. And I love it. It's completely worthwhile and amazing, but like it's not it doesn't make sense within the capitalist market of needing to maximize profits and deliver a return to your shareholders. And so the goal with this is like we really hope that our community sees the value in what we're doing. Like, I mean, nobody has to give us money, and I think asking for money is inherently awkward and weird. Like we've never done a fundraising drive before. Um, but we were just kind of looking at where we're at, like the goals of how we want to continue to grow our operation. We're not looking to like rapidly grow. We just want to be sustainable and like very slowly and deliberately figure out like what needs to change incrementally to have more fun, to make it more sustainable, to make it more impactful. And we could just really use some money right now. So yeah, we're trying. It's not like a Kickstarter or a GoFundMe. We're using a platform called With Friends, and the two goals with it are one, we just could really use some money, so we got a bunch of our just our favorite indie comic cartoonist to do artwork for prints that we're selling as a limited edition risograph prints. And we got artists like Michael DeForge and Julia Wirtz, like Maya Kababi's taking part, even some creators who are not even comic artists but writers, like Lemony Snicket shops at our store all the time, and he's signed a pile of books for us. And so we're selling that stuff and we're accepting donations. The other part of it, though, that I'm also extremely excited about is we're launching a subscription drive. And the way the subscription works is for $40 a month, you can get every single thing we publish delivered to your house once a month. Every box has a retail value of well over $40, so you're saving money on getting an amazing packet of comics every month. And it's also cool because if you get an email before every box ships, about a week ahead of time, with a list of what's going to be in that box. And if there's anything that you don't want for whatever reason, like maybe you already ordered it, or maybe like you don't want like a horny horror comic or whatever, you can just go in and edit your box. So you can take any items out of that month's shipment and replace them with anything else from our store. So it's a good way to consistently get some really amazing, like a curation of indie comics. And it helps us out having predictable revenue of kind of knowing like, okay, we have this many subscribers, which means that we can count on getting this much money every month. And I really see that as so vital to kind of building sustainability, where we don't want to have to like, be fundraising on a regular basis, or, asking people for money. And as a storefront, our store is completely dedicated to indie comics. So it's all the books we publish, but we order from over 300 different suppliers who are primarily like really tiny publishing houses or people who self-publish their own books. And they're all stuff that we vouch for, that someone in the store has read and is like, this is awesome, we should carry it. So it's also like, I mean, we have so many incredible comics that you literally can't find on Amazon or a lot of other places. Stuff we import from other countries, stuff from just really amazing micro presses. And yeah, I just think it's a really cool, it's the resource that I wish existed that I would subscribe to. So it's exciting that we figured out a way to make that exist, and hopefully it'll have value to people who hear about it.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's also a great way of not only building the community, but also expanding it to people who may not be living in San Francisco or cannot visit the conventions or even the comic shops that supply your books as well. Because outside of a print subscription, you're also doing a digital one too.
Yeah, so it's available digitally as well. That one's $15 a month, and you get everything we publish digitally. And we make sure that every one has a value greater than whatever the price is. So even though you're paying, like, if that particular month doesn't have the full, well, we publish a lot of books, so it's always worth more than what that $15 is. But just in case it ever like dips below that, we're going to add some extra things from our back catalog that we think are just really important or interesting, or from like friends that are just doing something incredible that we want to give a signal boost to. And also like our website does ship worldwide, so we do free shipping if you spend $100 already. So we do a tremendous amount of mail order already of every single thing that's in our store is also available online, and there's pictures and descriptions and all the stuff you expect from an online store.
Oh, definitely. And I think another important aspect of Silver Sprocket that I'm a big fan of is the sustainability of the writers and artists that y'all represent. Because, to be honest, it is very difficult to be a creative in comics, whether it be through the logistics, the economics, the fact that y'all are providing that support network for them.
We really try our best. Like we don't just focus on the book that we're doing with the artist. I mean, of course, the book is like what drives everything and what is kind of cornerstone to the relationship. But we always try to look at the bigger picture of how is this artist existing? Like, what are their goals for the project in terms of the book itself and also their career overall? Like, how are they able to make a living? And we work with a lot of the artists to do like additional merch, like prints or whatever else, but also like we help them get connected with like art dealers, or getting invited to like speak at colleges or be on panels. And we really try to look at the bigger picture of, because like if they're able to make the more energy and time they could put into their art that they're passionate about, time that they're not having to spend on like a soul sucking day job or something else, like any success that any of our artists have anywhere is going to reverberate back to all of their other projects, including their projects with us. So we only sign artists to do one book at a time. We don't take any media rights, so artists can make their own merch. They can make their own film and TV deals. Like, we are a comic publisher. We're not an IP farm, and we really want to focus on where we really add value and where it's mutually beneficial. And we do get involved in that other stuff on a case by case basis when it makes sense, but it is completely opt in at every stage where the artist has to want us to do those extra things. We don't just take all the rights and then like sit on them or try to exploit them, or we're a comic publisher. That's our thing.
Fully agree. It definitely feels so refreshing to see a publisher so focused on the actual artistic aspect of comics and that artistic worth instead of solely on the economical value of it.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's a lot of fun. I like it.
So, with Silver Sprocket being a publisher for about 15 years, what's kind of the goal for the next 15?
I mean, the big goal is just sustainability. Like, we want to be able to keep doing what we're doing, but we have a lot of dreams. Like, we're not looking to like, if we got like $1 million, well, okay, if we got $1 million, we'd buy a building, and we that'd be amazing. But I'm not expecting that. Um, Really, like in the super short term, we want to take better care of our staff and our artists. So like we have an incredible team of between 12 and 15 people, depending on how you count them, and everyone works so hard and is so passionate about what they're doing. But like we're not really paid very well, and I really want to be able to get closer to a living wage for the people who are just working so hard, who like do this day in and day out. Um, we want to have a little buffer of money so we're not like scrambling to, figure out how to pay all the bills. I mean, we're not in danger of going under. Like we are okay, but there's major challenges that we're facing, and it'd be really nice to be able to put all of our energy into making and promoting amazing comics and supporting our artist. And but like we do have some goals that are really important to us that it'd be really nice to be able to work on over the next few years. Like since we really care about people being able to self-publish and create their own comics, and there's some really great resources online where you can order book printing from a website like mixum.com or whatever, but like it's pretty expensive, and you're not right there in the room to learn about printing and doing it yourself and really be hands-on with it in a way that I feel really has a lot of value. And since the business world kind of went digital, and then the pandemic, a lot of print shops, like just copy places, have shut down. And a lot of people come into the shop wanting to make their own comics. And a regular question is like, how do I literally print my comics? Like, where do I go to print them? I have to go like way out of town to find a copy place with reasonable prices. And, it's just hard to do. So I think it'd be so amazing if we can open some kind of a community oriented print shop where people can like literally photocopy their comics and trim them and fold them and get them all formatted all nice. We also really want to increase the amount of like workshops and skill shares that we host in the shop, and also we would really like to do a lot more programming with local schools, and maybe like around conventions, like rather than just flying into a festival in Chicago or Toronto or whatever, like staying for an extra week and actually visiting some classrooms and libraries. And um, yeah, like there's just so much stuff we want to be doing. We want to be offering better advances to the artists we work with, but in the immediate term, though, we just want to keep the lights on. We want to be able to keep doing what we're doing and feel stable in being able to do that in the short term. And then any changes are going to be very thoughtful and deliberate and incremental. Like there's no need to invest a ton in starting this brand new giant initiative all at once. Like we really want to take baby steps and really learn what we're doing one step at a time, and make the mistakes and learn things without a giant amount of money allocated to it from the immediate sense where you can really make a lot of mistakes that can be a lot more expensive. But also, like, we have the resources to, like, the human resources to really do a good job. Like, we're really good friends with a local risograph print shop called Tiny Splendor in the East Bay. So you've got to use a car to get there because they're pretty far away. But like they've been running a community print shop for years and years, and they're amazing, and they're such good friends of ours that like we've consulted with them quite a bit about our dreams of opening a print shop, and have very detailed plans of how we would go about it. And they are very eager to personally be very hands-on and helping us get it up and going in the best way, and learn from their mistakes and successes, and everything that they've learned about doing it. So we're DIY, but DIY doesn't mean you're the only person doing it. It means you're doing it with your friends and your community. Like we don't have to learn every single thing ourselves when there's so much of a community already doing so many of these things.
I guess you could say it's DIO, do it ourselves instead of
Do it
DIY.
ourselves. Yeah, do it together.
Mm. Yeah, no, and I think that's just such a great idea for a resource because with a lot of whether you go to art school or whether you learn on your own, there's just so much stuff that you have no idea how to do. And the fact that you are providing that knowledge experience outside the actual physical tools to help create the next generation of artistic talent to really strive and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I really think anybody can and should make comics. Like anybody can grab a pen and find some printer paper and just draw on it. Like I feel like people kind of are in their head about like, oh, I need to get these art supplies or have a publisher or whatever. But I am very happy that a lot of colleges and art schools are now kind of improving their comic program to make it a lot more tangibly useful, where like Like every assignment is a finished mini comic that you can actually get printed and have it to sell at conventions or put on your website or whatever. And you actually get that experience rather than just like, here's how to do figure drawing. And then here's some outdated industry information that isn't even relevant anymore about getting hired at Marvel. But not all the schools are making those changes, but I think the really good ones are. The Center for Cartoon Studies in White River Junction, Vermont, really was like the torchbearer of that, and now a lot of other programs are kind of basing their curriculums on that. Like here in San Francisco, California College of the Arts has a really amazing comic program. It's freakishly expensive and not really accessible to all that many people, but that model of how to teach comics is filtering through though, and it I'm really happy to see it becoming a lot more prevalent.
Great. I know that Silver Sprocket is offering those memberships. Is it strictly for the duration of this crowdfunding, or is that just going to be an initiative that y'all have taken going forward?
So the subscriptions are going to be an ongoingly available thing. We've been testing it out for about 3 months before publicly launching, just to kind of work out the kinks and make sure that it all goes smoothly. So yeah, we're up to almost 200 subscribers. We're going to unlock some really fun stretch goals at 200, where everybody's October box includes some really exciting bonus items that I'm excited for people to see. But yeah, those are going to keep being available, and like you can pause your subscription if you want to skip a month, or you're traveling. Like we're trying to make it as user friendly and customer friendly as possible. Like we're not trying to lock anyone into anything. It's just like, if this makes sense, as long as it makes sense, even if you can only do it for a couple months or just want to try it out, like just go for it. And it's a great model. Like I would love. We're so transparent with everything that we do that I there's a lot of my publisher friends and a lot of my comic shop owner friends who are paying a lot of attention to how this is going, and we're other bookstores have done similar things. Like Blue Stockings, the anarchist bookstore in New York, has a membership program, and Comics Experience here in San Francisco has like a graphic novel of the month club. And I think I don't know, trying to have a bookstore in the age of Amazon is difficult, and it's really important to actually provide value to your community and have a reason to be taking up space in the meat space in the real world, to have a reason for existing, for someone to want to support you rather than just getting it online without leaving bed.
Oh, fully agree with that. I think overall, what it sounds like with Silver Sprocket is that y'all are acknowledging the capitalistic society that we live in and recognizing we don't need to change our beliefs or methods. We just have to find a different path forward to make it more sustainable, which I think is great.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're in this system. We engage with it to various degrees, like it's inescapable. But there's a lot that we can't escape. There's a lot that we can't have agency over, and it's worth doing. Because I mean, the comics we publish are fucking amazing, but like all of our artists are fiercely independent. A lot of us really don't like Amazon. We really want to. We all as humans have to be doing what we can when we can to contribute to being in the world that we want to exist in, and we can really shape the world around us in meaningful ways. We just have to be a bit creative about it and mindful about what we're doing and understanding of the impact we're having in different areas.
Most definitely. And when does the fundraising end?
Right now our plan is like we're running it through the month of October, but I don't know, like we kind of we do a lot of planning, but then there's also a lot of seat of our pants, like having to adjust to the realities of whatever's going on or whatever variables are flying our way. So I think we're formally doing this through October, but I imagine like it's possible that we'll still have some prints left over that we'll be able to continue selling, though probably not, because I mean they're really funny and really amazing art, like Katie Skelly, like Olivia James, the artist who does Nancy, like the Nancy fucking comic, did a Silver Sprocket illustration for us. I'm just like dumbfounded. I'm like, holy shit, this is so cool. So I hope that people get really excited and like Skinner is this amazing metal artist who does like album covers for Mastodon and stuff, and like these prints are sick as hell. So I hope people should snatch them up. There's only 100 of each, but yeah, we're gonna keep on promoting our stuff and being creative. But yeah, the fundraiser is supposed to go through October. But like, I don't know. I'm talking a lot about the fundraiser, and I really want people to know like why our books are different and interesting and like worth reading and stuff too. And they really are. Like we don't do like consecutive issues of things. Like every single book is a complete standalone read. We really sell to readers rather than collectors. So, people definitely do collect our comics, but like we don't do variant covers. It's like this is what the book is and it's amazing and this is worth your energy. And they all have a very unique voice and point of view. Like if you look at a page of art and you're familiar with our artist, like you know exactly who drew it and there's no one else who could have drawn it. And they have such unique and interesting perspectives and storytelling styles and such diversity. Like, I think this is very appropriate for the type of publisher we are, for the type of comics we publish that I, don't think a lot of other people are doing that truly are accessible and fun and joyous. And, we're not just trying to get you hooked on a soap opera. We want to give you like a rewarding experience, like within the pages.
Oh, definitely. And I think that is a great time to start wrapping up. So, Avi, how can people find Silver Sprocket? How can they support their work?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. Go into your local comic book store or bookstore and just ask for our books. That's huge. If you Our website is silversprocket.net. Just Google search Silver Sprocket, you'll find it. Our store page is very easy to use. We're on Instagram and Twitter and Blue Sky. Just type Silver Sprocket and you'll find it. Um, but yeah, like just enjoy good comics. Like I just want people to have a really good experience reading a comic book and just know that was some time very well spent, and want to do more of it because it's such a unique medium where like film or animation or television takes like a team of people and you can tell some really amazing compelling stories, but you really need buy-in from you need giant budgets, and you need a team of a ton of people to make anything. And one person can make a really incredible comic from their own unique perspective, and it's like such a magical, fat like wonderful form of communication and form of narrative art. So yeah, just look us up online, go check out our website, check out our comics. I want to brag that we won the Eisner Award this year for pee Poo Poo by Caroline Cash, like a one person anthology series, kind of harking back to like the alt comics of like the 60s and 70s, but very contemporary and right now. Um, but no, our whole catalog is fucking amazing. Like, check out our books. Just click around. You'll find something that really grabs your attention, and you'll be glad you did.
Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Avi. It was great talking with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.